What is it about the character of Norman that makes him someone to follow on this adventure and also to root for?
Well, he's an underdog, like he's an outsider, but he's a very strong character, like Norman is despised in some ways by society because he has an amazing talent, but in the end it turns out that Norman's weirdness is what makes him wonderful in the end.
Yeah, and when we set out to make this movie, we wanted it to feel like there was a real 11-year-old at the heart of it. So I think everyone watching this movie can remember what it's like to be 11. And what it's like not to know quite how you fit into the world. It doesn't matter whether you're a popular or the loser kid in the corner. Everyone knows what it's like to not quite fit in.
Right.
Well, we knew for Norman, because Norman has to carry the movie. He's a complicated little kid. And what we wanted to do was have a child performer perform his role. But it had to be a child who could act. Because, Norman has to be... he has to be smart, he has to be vulnerable, he has to be funny as well at times, and that's quite a lot to ask of a young performer. But we'd seen Cody's performance in The Road, and he holds his own with Viggo Mortensen, and that's no mean feat. So we knew that he had the acting chops to carry this. People have said to us, why pick an Australian actor? It's like, because he can act really well.
Yeah.
Those Aussies.
And Christopher Mintz-Plasse, bringing him in to play a bully character is not something he'd ever done before, but, he really embraced it. He was kind of excited about that, actually, being picked for this. And but his voice has got a kind of vulnerability in it.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of humour as well. And so in the end, this guy, Alvin, his character becomes likeable. And you kind of he becomes part of an enjoyable gang.
Right.
And so we didn't just want a straight idiot bully that we didn't like, And Christopher is just hilarious.
Right.
I mean, he's just funny.
And then Casey has this jock, and then you find out at the end.
Yeah.
How is that? I mean, that for me, that's like complete opposite when you see Casey Affleck.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which was great. It worked. I mean,
I think that was part of the reason for choosing the people we did was also to have some fun with the casting, because a big part of this movie is not judging a book by its cover. So we were playful in our casting as well. Just finding the right voices often meant that we were going against type for the physical performer. So Casey, his voice is just so charming.
Yeah.
But he's the brightest person you could ever meet. So for him to play that stupid was fantastic.
Yeah.
it was great. Now with stop motion animation, there's so many elements going on at the same time. How did you guys, as directors and as a writer, have your hands in everything that's going on simultaneously?
You kind of, you storyboard the whole thing. That's really where you can control it most, and you do a lot of concept art and a lot of color, work in color. So in the first year, we kind of design a blueprint for the movie. And we make it on paper, basically. We put the actors' voices in and we cut it together in an Avid. That's our best chance of controlling it. As more and more people come on board, what you have to do is get them invested in the process and get them to learn, the vibe of the movie. And then they start to take it. They start to carry it. So it's not just us bossing everyone around. It's like everyone being brought on board and becoming part of it.
It's partly us bossing people around.
Yeah,
I mean, I think a stop motion movie. Well, I'm kidding. a stop motion movie. It is, when you actually step back and look at it, and that kind of is our job, to step back and keep an eye on the whole. Because in the end, we want to tell a good story. We have people. We have. At the height of production, we have between 320 and 330 people, and this is an army of talented craftspeople and artists. It's their job to get very passionate about single blades of grass, or hand painting single leaves on trees, or hand stitching tiny jackets. That's what they're good at, and these are very, very talented people at the top of their game. What we have to do is make sure that all that fits into a big puzzle, the greater whole.
You make it sound so easy.
Oh, yeah. Piece of cake.
Last question being, I love the way they worded this, so I'm just going to read it straight out. Through the story's fantastical occurrences, does this movie have something to say to kids and families today?
Yeah, I mean, you come along to this, it's a great fun ride, We want people to go on a scary, funny, emotional roller coaster ride of a movie. Come away thinking a bit about how we judge each other, and how we judge a book by its cover.
I think the best movies, certainly the best kids' movies, are the ones that you can laugh at, you can cry at, but you do take something away with you. There is something more to be said.